Hey guys, today we're going to look about how to write a good introduction and a good conclusion. You'll be able to find this document on Google Classroom, and please reference it when you're writing your introduction and conclusion. The best way to think about an introduction and conclusion is to think about them in the form of a cup. In your introduction, your statement should be really general in the beginning. See how wide the cup is at the top? And then as you go down, like a funnel, you should be more specific in what you're going to talk about in your paper. Now, a conclusion is the opposite. You should start out specific, and then you should become more general as you are talking about things addressed in your essay. Let's look at each of these a little bit closer. Please reference this as you're writing introductions and conclusions for your papers. First, for your introduction, you should start out with a hook. This is an interesting way to get your reader's attention. A hook can be a quote, a question, a story, a statistic, or any other general observation about the general topic of your paper. This is where you get to be a little creative with what you want to write. Make it interesting and let it grab your reader's attention. Next, you have to connect information from the hook to the thesis. These are just sentences that will lead you from the hook to your thesis. The thesis is the part of the introduction that specifically states the purpose of your essay. It is the most important sentence in your essay. It should be like the central idea of your essay. Next, you'll have a map sentence. This is usually one of the last sentences of your paper, of your introduction. And this sentence explains the key ideas in the body paragraphs in the order that they will appear. This map sentence helps your reader see where they are going in your paper. That's why it's called a map sentence. We'll look at examples of each of these. For the conclusion, you want to start by being really specific and then become more general as you lead your reader out of your paper. In the beginning of your conclusion, you should restate the main ideas, reword the main points of the essay, including your thesis from the introduction, in 2 to 3 sentences. You don't want to make your conclusion too long. See how the cup is smaller for the conclusion than the introduction? There's a reason for that. And towards the end, you need to give big picture sentences. This is the part of the conclusion that shows your reader your feelings or insight about the general topic addressed in the essay. Now, let's look at some examples of some good introductions and conclusions. Here is a good example of an introduction. It says, in 1969, song titled, Take a Giant Step, the singer claims, remember the feeling as a child when you woke up in the morning and smiled. It's time you felt like that again. That is the hook sentence. Okay? It gets your reader interested and it grabs their attention. It continues to say, childhood is supposed to be a time characterized by joy and laughter. It is this period known as the childhood that should be marked by carefree spirit and innocence, and it should be a time when a child has no worries. However, many children are robbed of this joyful period of their lives because of a tragic phenomenon known as child abuse. Every day, thousands of children lose their childhood because they are sadly victims of physical, sexual, or emotional abuse. This sentence right here, childhood is supposed to be a time that's characterized by joy and laughter, and the next sentence, it is a period known as childhood that should be marked as carefree spirit and innocence. Those are your connecting informations. This sentence right here, however, many children are robbed of this joyful period of their lives because of a tragic phenomenon known as child abuse. That is your thesis. It states the main point of your essay. And then lastly, this is the map sentence, the last sentence here. It says, every day thousands of children lose their childhood because they are sadly victims of physical, sexual, or emotional abuse. The writer of this essay had paragraphs relating to physical, sexual, and emotional abuse. They mapped out for their reader what their paper was going to cover. Here is a good conclusion. It's skinny at the top and wide at the bottom. Child abuse is a terrible tragedy that is occurring to far too many children today. It manifests itself in forms of physical, emotional, or sexual abuse. Because children are vulnerable and often scared to speak out, the adults who abuse them find them to be the perfect victims of their horrible crimes. Children should be protected, not victimized, and it is up to those who are brave enough to speak for these victims and end this horrible crime against them. So what the writer has done here is they have restated their thesis. They restated their 3 main points, and they have given a big picture sentence at the end. Okay, notice the conclusion is much smaller than the introduction. So what I want you guys to do, there will be another document like this, and I want you to follow the directions on it, and so you can see the parts of a good introduction and conclusion. Please, please, please use this CUPS document to write your introduction and your conclusion for your paper. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.